we've got Laurie today, who's an offer strategist. I was trying to explain that to someone last time, and it was a complete tongue twister. I couldn't say offer. So, anyways, she is from California, if I'm right. And I'll hand over to her where she can tell you a little bit about her experience and how she landed up in that niche. There you go. Laurie.
Okay, that's a long story, and I will share a little bit more about my story, kind of like through the presentation. But my background started in business, and I felt a calling back in 2004 to go into coaching. And when I went to IPEC coaching and became certified as a coach. I spent the next 8 years trying to build a life coaching practice. And this was back in the days when coaching was brand new. Like I was doing more like trying to explain to people what coaching was, rather than actually like selling coaching. So I spent a lot of time like just diving online. Business was really starting to take off as well. And so I spent the next 8 years just learning about how to build a brand, how to craft offers that people wanted to buy. And ultimately, I did close my life coaching practice, took a little break for a while. And then when I came back into coaching, it was more about business coaching. It was more about helping other coaches learn what I've learned about building a brand and crafting offers and building an audience that feels aligned. So I would say I have a very broad background in branding, digital marketing, business operations, but I have found with the introduction of AI and all of that, and just it being such a saturated marketplace, I decided to focus strictly on offer strategy. A lot has to do with just specializing, which I'm going to talk a lot about that today, but also a lot has to do with this is where my natural gifts were. I leaned into something that felt very natural for me. And yeah, it's worked. It's like total alignment for me. And ever since I did that, it's amazing like how things have blown up. And for those of you who are just wondering what is an offer strategist, because I do find that people, they're familiar with a business coach or a marketing strategist or a branding strategist, but there's not many offer strategists. And essentially what I do is I work with coaches, therapists, and healers to help them transform their passion and their expertise into an aligned and profitable offer. So we work, strictly it's about crafting offers, learning how to market those offers, and ultimately selling the offers. So that's where I landed. I've been behind the scenes of a lot of offer launches with clients, and I'm here today to share whatever kind of wisdom I can about crafting aligned offers.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And that's one of the reasons why I think this community naturally formed, is because life coaching and wellness seems very new and untreaded turf. So we're all just trying to figure it out together. And
Yes.
some people are more ahead in their journey than others. And it's like, well, let me quicken your process. And this is what I've learned. Or people are fresh out the gates, but they've got this tech and AI knowledge and stuff like that. And it's just a bundle of sharing, and just sharing his wisdom and stuff. So we are super excited to have you here.
Cool. So are you guys ready for me to present, or?
You're more than welcome to like have thumbs up emojis, everyone, if you're keen, but I'm ready. So if you wanted to hop on with your presentation, oh, there's all the thumbs up. You're more than welcome to continue on.
Okay. All right. Let me just take a couple of minutes to get the text set up so that I can get my slides shared here.
Brilliant. I hear the kids walking up the stairs, so I'm going to quickly mute myself, but I am attentive.
All right, just about ready here.
There we go. I can see it.
As everyone can see it now?
Yeah. Designing a hole-in-one offer. So yes, we do.
All right, great. Okay, so today we're talking about offers since that's what I specialize in, but not just any kind of offer, a hole-in-one offer. That is what I call one that feels aligned for both you and your audience. So there's going to be no more guessing about what works, no more feeling overwhelmed, just a real strategy that I'm going to share with you today to create an irresistible offer that actually sells. Just curious if this sounds familiar. You've got so many ideas swirling around in your head, but maybe no clarity on what's actually going to land. Or maybe you've poured your energy into launching an offer only to be disappointed by the results. You know that you have the passion and the expertise, but you don't know how to turn it into a sellable offer. And because of that, you start second guessing yourself, and often you lose momentum. Entrepreneurship is no joke. I'm going to be completely honest with you and let you know that I have been through 6 pivots with my offers in 9 years. And that also includes 2 complete rebrands. I would create offers that I thought that my clients wanted, things that I thought would sell. Some offers would get a little traction, others felt completely flat. And when I didn't get the results that I wanted, I would change again, hoping that this time it would be different. I even thought that rebranding would fix all of my client acquisition problems. And oh my God, I was so wrong. Totally wrong. Everything changed for me, both internally and externally, when I started focusing on these 2 things. One was specificity, getting super specialized and focusing on a very specific problem that I solve, a problem that is aligned with my gifts and also matches a market need. And the second thing was co-creation. I stopped creating offers alone and assuming that I knew the answer. Instead, I started asking my clients what they wanted. I listened deeply to what they struggled with, and so that I knew exactly what to create. So today, I'm going to walk you through what I call the Aligned Offer Blueprint. It's a 6-step framework that you can use to create a powerful, sellable offer without the guesswork. And I can promise you that if you follow these steps, that you are going to be excited about the offers that you create, and so are your clients. So let's dive in. Step 1 is to choose your specific lane. This is where we start because everything else builds from here. So if you feel that your offer isn't landing, chances are that you're not clear on your lane. And choosing your lane means finding the offer sweet spot. Let me explain that. So this is what I call alignment. It's when your passion, what you love to do, what you love to teach, your expertise, what you're trained or experienced in, or what you're naturally gifted at, and your market and the market need, what people are already searching for or struggling with, when all of these 3 overlap, that's your offer sweet spot. That's what I call your lane. So if you're unsure about your lane, because, and I'm going to talk about this a lot, but what I find is when we're starting out specifically, we're going very, very broad. We're very afraid to claim a lane. But what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, what do people come to you for naturally? Like what lights you up inside? What audience do you love working with? And what are you uniquely qualified to help with? What I want to really, really stress here is that you don't have to have this figured out like perfectly. Oftentimes, what I have found is finding that sweet spot is something that evolves over time. So, the more that you can lean into a specific lane, the better for you. But also understand that it may evolve and may change a bit as you grow your business, as you learn more about like who you love working with, as you learn more about like what really lights you up inside. These things will become more clear as you're going through building your business. And like I said, from there, all we have to do is just test, refine, and get even clearer. And I think this is not just for wellness entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs in general are generalist by default. They're multi-passionate, they help with everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. I myself have a very diverse background in business, but the more general you are, the harder it is for people to understand what you actually do. Specialists make it easy for people to say, oh, yes, you're the one who helps this type of person with this type of problem. And as the wellness market like continues to grow, it's going to be more and more important for you to specialize. And the reason I know this is because I would say within like the last 18 months, I have seen a huge shift in the market. I was marketing myself as a generalist, and it wasn't working. I was losing business to specialists, people that were branding specialists or YouTube specialists or any type of specialist, website designers. So I learned that being a generalist, it makes it much, much harder to stand out. So here's a little story about my own journey. I used to do it all for my clients. I did branding, I did marketing, I did operations, I did coaching, you name it, I did it all. Because I thought that I was doing the right thing by being the one-stop shop for all of my clients. But really what happened is it confused them. They didn't quite understand exactly what I did. And I felt really scattered trying to do everything for them. When I focused on what I'm really great at, offer strategy and development, everything clicked. My marketing became easier and clearer. I became known for my specialty. I was way more focused and, truth be told, way more happier. This one choice to specialize unlocks everything. It tells people that I see you, I know your problem, and I can help. So if you take nothing else from today, I just want you to take this. The more specific you are, the more powerful and aligned your offer will be. Step 2 is about clarifying 2 things. 1, the specific problem that your offer solves, and 2 is the specific transformation that your client will experience. So now that you've picked your lane, let's talk about the biggest reason that offers don't convert, even when the work is super powerful. It's usually not the quality of the service. It's the clarity of the message. You might be solving the right problem, but if you're not communicating that clearly and specifically in your audience's language, they won't connect with it. And it's not just about what the problem is, it's also about what's possible after the problem is solved. Because what we have to remember is that people are not buying coaching, they're not buying features or packages, they're buying the possibility of a better life. And it's our job to show them what that looks like. So let me just kind of walk through what you can do to like really clarify the problem and the promise of your offer. So here's what I find most coaches struggle with. They are creating offers that are vague, nice sounding ideas, but nice to haves, they don't sell. Okay, specific sells. And what really converts is transformation. You want your audience to see themselves in the problem and believe that the outcome is possible. So let me just kind of talk through some of these examples so you can see from a language and a messaging standpoint, like how you can go from being vague to being very clear and specific to having a very tangible outcome. So vague would be, I help people live a more balanced life. But if we're clear and specific, it might sound like I help new moms create a sleep routine so they can get 8 hours of rest. The outcome or the transformation they receive is they wake up energized, feel calmer during the day, and finally enjoy motherhood again. So we can see the difference like in the language, how when we do something very vague, I help people manage stress. Yes, of course, you do help people manage stress. But there's people saying, but what does that really mean, right? What does that really look like? So think about if we got clearer, I help creatives recover from burnout and rebuild healthy habits. What's the outcome? They feel clear, focused, and ready to finish their next big creative project. So here we're getting very, very like tangible, very nuanced with language so that they can start to recognize themselves in your messaging. And once you've identified the specific problem that you solve and the transformation that you create, it's time to bring that into a clear, concise offer statement. This is your foundation. I promise you, like I've worked with so many clients on this, and it's probably one of the most difficult things to do is to get super clear on this offer statement. But I will tell you from experience, once you get that specificity and once you nail it, like it's just so much easier to build everything from that. Now, I want to be clear about this. It's not copy for your website yet. It's just clarity for you, right? It becomes the starting point for everything from your sales pages to your social post. And remember that the strongest offer statements use clients' language, not expert jargon. So here's the offer statement formula that I use with my clients. I help whatever specific person that you work with. Again, the more narrow you can get, the more clear that you can get, the more easily people will recognize that. Solve a specific problem so they can experience this outcome or transformation. So an example is I help new moms create a sleep routine that works so they wake up rested and actually enjoy their day again. So even if you draft, like when I'm working with my clients, like through the Aligned Offer Accelerator, this is one of the first things that we do. And even if that offer statement is not exactly perfect or still feels like a little rough around the edges, it's okay. As you continue to build your offer, that offer statement will keep getting like deeper and deeper, and you will refine it. But start with something that you feel like you can work with. It gives you direction. So remember that I mentioned nice to have offers don't sell. And that is because the problem is not urgent. This is my favorite way to test the urgency of an offer. It's called the need, want, can't framework. So if we look at each of these, a need is I need to lose weight for my health. That becomes like a primal driver, right? Something's going on. Maybe they have high blood pressure, or maybe they're at risk for a heart attack, or maybe I don't know, they've gotten some type of chronic disease that comes from being overweight. It's now a need. A want, or what I say, like a nice to have, is I want to feel more confident in my clothes. If we think about it, for anyone that struggled with losing weight, like, yes, we want to feel more confident, and that's a desire, but isn't like urgent. Like we're saying, yeah, it would be nice. I mean, I know for myself, I'm like, yeah, I would love to lose, 7 pounds. But am I really, really willing to do the work that it takes to lose those 7 pounds? Probably not, or maybe. It's a want, right? It's not urgent. A can't is I can't seem to lose weight no matter what I try. So now you know that your ideal client has tried different things. They're frustrated and they're looking for a solution. But one of the things with a can't is you're going to have to help them understand that even though they may have tried other things in the past, this solution will actually work, right? Because right now they're starting to feel like they don't believe in themselves. So the best offers addressed one of two things, either a deep need or a frustrating can't. Want-based offers often get ignored because they're not urgent enough. So you want your offer to speak directly to what your audience is losing sleep over. That's what they're ready to invest in. What are they talking to about with their friends, right? What are they constantly complaining about day in and day out? That's an urgent problem. Another issue that can affect conversions is trying to sell solutions to problems that people aren't even aware that they have. And I'll give you an example of that. A client of mine created a course to help women heal their anxiety, and it didn't sell. Why? Because anxiety is a symptom. The real reason that people weren't buying was because they didn't see themselves in the problem that you're trying to solve. They don't walk around saying, I want to heal my anxiety. They say, I'm tired of fighting with my partner, or I can't sleep at night. So speak to the symptom that they recognize. That's also why it's so important that your program title and those first few pages of your sales page matter so much, because if they don't see themselves in the problem, they're going to walk away. They have to identify, like, right away, oh my God, yes, that's me. So once you identify the symptom that your audience recognizes, your job isn't to name the problem, it's to build the possibility of what life could look like once that problem is solved. And your messaging is the bridge between where they are now and where they want to be. So, for example, instead of saying this program helps you heal your anxiety, you might say, learn how to stop overthinking, sleep through the night, and feel calm in your own skin. When people hear that, they don't just understand what you offer, they feel seen, and they believe that that transformation is possible. Your messaging needs to paint a clear and a compelling picture of the transformation, because that's what makes it obvious that your offer matters. And when your audience believes that change is possible, remember, they have to believe that your solution is going to work for them. If you can help them understand and believe that they can achieve it, then you're not going to have to convince them. So one of the best ways to do that in your messaging is to use their own words. So let me give you some examples of that. So if you are hearing them say things like, I feel like I'm dragging myself through the day. I can't remember the last time I woke up feeling rested. My brain feels foggy and I crash by 3 p.m. If you can use that language, they're like, oh my God, yes, that's totally me. And the after, like, what are they saying after you have worked with them? Maybe they're saying things like, I finally feel like myself again. I'm waking up with energy before my alarm goes off. I can focus and actually finish my to-do list. So if I think, you know, the more that we can just speak to the language that they are using, the more they're going to recognize themselves in your offer. So instead of using like the jargon that we would typically like use when we're talking about our offer, just talk like they would talk. So the key takeaways for this step is to get specific about the problem that you solve, use the exact words that your audience uses, paint the picture of what's possible on the other side. Your job isn't to describe the offer, it's to create the trust that the transformation is actually possible. The offers that convert aren't the most polished ones, they're the ones that feel the most real, that solve an urgent, specific problem. And when you can show your audience that you understand them deeply and you can help them believe that change is possible and you're the one to support them, you will be amazed at like how easily that your offers will convert. So how do we do that? Like, how do we know like what specific problem is actually going to convert? What specific transformation is our audience actually looking for? The secret is in step 3, validate before you build. Most entrepreneurs are building their offer backwards. Trust me, I've done it myself. They first create the offer, then they try to find people to buy it. And that's why so many amazing ideas never get traction. So your offer needs to be built with your audience. It's kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier, that process of like co-creation. Maybe some of you can relate to this. Have you ever built out a whole offer, a sales page, content, emails, only to launch and get silence? I've been there. When you build without input, you're building on assumptions, and assumptions can be very expensive. Validation, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can start right now by asking these 3 questions. What's your biggest challenge with whatever problem you solve? What would make a solution feel like a no-brainer? And what would that transformation be worth to you? And the only way to find those answers is to ask for feedback from your ideal audience. And you can do that through real conversations with people. You can do simple polls or Google Forms, maybe Instagram stories, sharing ideas, getting into conversations in the DMs and asking questions, pre-selling a beta offer. And for those of you who are, love AI, if you are a plus user on ChatGPT, there is a deep research function on ChatGPT that gives amazing, amazing market research. All you have to do is just tell ChatGPT to search this audience on this specific problem. What can you tell me about what they're saying, what they're looking for? It pulls pages of market research. So just know that validation, even if you're just starting out, you can use ChatGPT, you can find like members of your ideal client audience and just get into conversations with them and start talking to them about what their problems are, what they need solved, and that will be suffice for your market validation. So this, for me, is just the simple shift from guessing to asking. What are you struggling with right now? If you had a magic wand, what result would you want? And what would you invest to get that result? You're not selling to people, you're co-creating with them. That's what makes an offer feel aligned and easy to sell. I want to just share a little bit about a client of mine. Her name was Jackie, and she wanted to create a course titled Manifest More Money. But she was super nervous about pouring all kinds of energy and time into the course and getting no sales. So instead, she asked her audience. She sent out an email. She told them what she was thinking about building. She offered a pre-sale price and gave them a promised delivery date. 6 people bought the course on the spot. That was enough to validate the offer, right? She knew, okay, if 6 people right off the bat, just from a simple email, was going to buy that offer, imagine if she did a full launch and started spreading the word, she would sell a lot more. So this is why it's so, so important to validate first, because you stop spinning in your head and you start connecting to the people that you're here to help. You move from that feeling of, is this good enough, to this is exactly what they need. The most aligned offers aren't built alone. They're built in conversation, in community, and in connection. So step 4 is to structure your offer for quick transformation. Once you've validated your offer, it's time to shape it into an actual offer. But here's the truth. If your offer feels long, overwhelming, or confusing, selling your offer is going to feel like an uphill battle and people will not say yes. If we know anything about today, it's our audience, any audience is busy. They're living a very fast-paced life and they're oversaturated in this digital society. They're busy, they're overstimulated. They want to know, will I actually follow through with this, or will I be wasting my money? Years ago, people were like course junkies, right? Like we bought like every course. Today, we are much more discerning. Are much smarter. We are putting the brakes on things and going, wait, I have 50 courses I've never gotten to. Let me be a little bit more discerning about what I buy next. So think about like a quick transformation. A quick transformation could look like a 30-day accelerator with short actionable lessons. Something longer, like a 12-week course with 7 modules and 90-minute videos, that's going to be harder to sell. Long, complex programs create friction, but bite-sized offers, they create the momentum that you need to get going. So when you can break down your transformation into small, doable steps, you give your clients a sense of progress. And that progress is what creates the trust in you, in themselves, and in your process. Even if your full transformation takes time, focusing on micro wins within that transformation is what helps builds the trust for your clients. Okay, so one of the best ways to build that trust and momentum is to deliver a real win in 30 days or less. That's why my own program is designed that way. It forces clarity, it keeps them engaged, and it makes your offer easier to sell and deliver. Here's what I see a lot in the wellness space: incredible practitioners with powerful knowledge, but their offers are packed with way too much. So before you start building modules or recording like videos, just ask yourself these 3 questions. What's the one specific outcome I'm helping them achieve? Can I break it into 3 to 5 bite-sized milestones? And what's the simplest, clearest path to get them from point A to point B? Quick wins aren't about doing less. They're about building belief. A well-designed quick win opens the door to bigger work. It's about trust and accessibility, but not shrinking your impact. When you keep your offer lean and laser focused, your clients get the win and you become the no-brainer choice. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking, but my transformation takes time. I can't help them in, 30 days. It takes at least 6 months to get the transformation. I do want to be clear. I'm not saying that you can't offer or a 3-month or a 6-month transformation program. But what we need to keep in mind is that that level of commitment should come after your client experiences a tangible win with you. Too many wellness pros are trying to start a relationship with a high commitment program. And that's honestly, that's like proposing marriage on the first date. If we have a lead magnet or a little freebie offer, and we are expecting our clients to jump from this free valuable offer into a 6-month program that costs $5,000 or more, that is a big jump. So if we can help them with a smaller offer that's 30 days or 6 weeks, something that's more bite-sized that they can wrap their brains around and they can get a win from that, that makes it easier for them than to say yes to what's next. You will easily sell them. They will get a taste of your work. They will get some wins. It will feel good. And they will naturally ask you, how can I work with you more? Step 5 is to price based on transformation. Most entrepreneurs, wellness, every industry, especially women entrepreneurs, get tripped up on pricing. So there's just a few things that I wanted to emphasize about pricing, because when I was looking at your Google form, not everybody was struggling with the price, but there are a few things that we can get hung up on. One is that clients don't pay for your time. They pay for the results. So try to stay away from like time-based or time-based offers, like, $150 per session. Instead, craft an offer that is based around a transformation and have them pay for the result of that transformation. The other thing that happens is we believe that more content is equal to more value. So if we deliver more content, then we can charge more. But actually, again, this goes back to this creates friction. Like the more content that they have to go through, the harder it is for them to sell, because people know, am I really going to complete this? So what really matters is the clarity and the outcome of the offer. So what I want you to do is to ask yourself, what is this transformation worth in their life? That's how we have to price. Think about all of the changes that will take place. Think about if your client actually achieves the transformation that you want them to achieve, how is their life going to change on all levels, not just for themselves, but in their work, in their family, everywhere. That's how we learn to price based on transformation. I just wanted to share just a typical range of prices that are charged for like each type of offer. Obviously, your lead magnet or your freebie, and these are all different types of offers. We here have been talking about a core offer, but there is your lead magnet or your freebie offer. Obviously, that is $0. There can be a micro offer. That might be like a workshop or maybe an email challenge, something of those sort, like a 10-day email challenge. That typically ranges between $27 and $97. Your core offer, something that's typically between like 4 to 6 weeks long, is $297 to $997. Then you have your signature program. And again, this is like your deeper work that you're doing with clients. That typically ranges between $1,000 and $5,000. And then you can have a premium offer, which is at least probably 6 months and beyond, that is usually running about 5,000 and above. So now that your offer is clear, transformational, and aligned, it's time to shape how you position it. The goal of step 6 is to make it obvious why you're the person that they want to work with. This final step brings it all together. It's about making your offer not just valuable, but uniquely yours. It's the moment that your audience realizes that no one else can deliver it quite like you. So there are 6 key ways that I talk about that you can make your offer stand out. I mean, because let's face it, there's a lot of wellness coaches out there. There's a lot of people offering the same type of thing, balancing your hormones or navigating, through menopause and midlife. So how do you make your offer stand out? Number 1 is your stories. Nobody has the same stories as you. Gosh, there are so many stories that you can tell, starting with why you started your business, your impact story, your own transformation story. What about like the everyday life stories? The more that you can share your stories and let who you are and your stories come out, the more people will start to relate to you. The second way to make your offer stand out is through your values. Again, not everybody has the same values. One of the values in my own business is heart. And so all of my content is very, very heart-centered. And I have been told, I can't even tell you how many times, the reason I wanted to work with you is because you're heart-centered. So talking about your values in your content goes a long ways. Your personality. Everyone has a different personality, right? Some people are super energetic and very extroverted. Some people are very calming and grounded. Your personality is the thing. I guess the thing with personality is that we're all attracted to a different kind of personality. So the more that you can lean into your personality and let your, as they say, let your freak flag show, that's amazing, because people will be attracted to you for your personality. The fourth way to stand out would be your process, like a very specific framework that you take clients through to get to the transformation. That's your process. And that's uniquely yours. So the more that you can outline that process and make it very clear how exactly you help people achieve that result, the more you're going to stand out. Your energy. For me, that's the biggest thing ever, is your energy. Like if you've ever been on a phone call, I know myself, I've been in sales calls before, and I'm exchanging, information. I'm talking to the other person. Sometimes things will just feel like off, right? It's just like, I don't know what it is, but I'm just like not connecting with this person. Energetically, we're just not aligned. And then you may have a call where you're just, oh my gosh, like everything is on fire. Like you feel aligned on all levels. Like you are just hitting it off. You're just like, oh my God, I so want to work with this person. Like energetically, you're very aligned. That's why, to me, energy is just something it's just so important for you to stay connected to your energy, to stay aligned with your energy, for you to always be paying attention to like what feels good and what doesn't feel good, because your energy is something that people feel. So just know that the energy is probably one of the biggest ways to stand out. And then the last way that you can stand out is through your perspective, or what they call your thought leadership. Maybe you take a different approach than, some wellness coaches take. Maybe you just believe something different than the norm. Like, I can't give any specific examples, but just think about how is your perspective like unique. Like, for instance, one thing that I'm talking about next week in my content is that AI shaming needs to stop. I'm finding that a lot of people are doing a social media post and articles on how to tell if a person is writing with AI. Personally, that bothers me, because like AI is a time-saving tool. AI is something that helps us be more efficient and more strategic. And I personally, I don't want to be like shamed for writing with AI, because I've spent a lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of weeks building custom GPTs that are trained in my voice and the way that I write. So if you can find like some type of a unique angle, some type of unique perspective on the problem that you solve or the transformation that you create, talk about that. Don't be afraid to be bold and to share a different perspective. And I think the last thing that I really want to leave you with on when it comes to like differentiation is that you as a person are the differentiator. It's not about like your offer, it's really about you. Because in the end, people are buying time with you. They are wanting to work with you. So just be you. That's the easiest thing I can say, is just be you, and don't be afraid to show up as your unique self. The other piece of positioning that we rarely talk about, and that's competitive awareness. And I don't want you to look at your competitors to compare, but only to contrast. Look at what others are doing in your niche. What language are they using? What gaps or patterns do you notice? Positioning isn't about trying to be better, and it's definitely not about copying. Copying is probably the fastest way to get to misalignment. Like if we see, I worked with this health coach, and I was, working with her to help her try to craft an offer. And we were really leaning into what really felt good to her. The next session, she comes into the session and she's just like, yeah, you know what though? I don't know. Like I see all of these huge health coaches and they're doing this and they're doing that. And it's like, slow down. It's not about what all of these other health coaches, the big health coaches, are doing. Cookie cutter strategies are not going to work for you. Eventually, you'll burn out. So just lean into learning from your audience, like learning from your competitors, and looking at like what about that feels aligned. What are they doing that maybe is working really well that you think, yeah, that might work well for me. But also look at what doesn't work for you. Like what are they doing that you like don't agree with, or that you think is not going to be very effective? That's how we use the competition to get better with positioning. So once you have your offer in place and you're clear on how to differentiate yourself, you need to show up in a way that feels like you. Marketing isn't a megaphone, and sales is not sleazy. It's an invitation. This is one of the things that my coach really taught me, that working with someone and showing up for, and being visible, it's an invitation for them to work with you. It's an invitation into the transformation that you can help them achieve. It doesn't need to feel forced. It doesn't need to feel pushy, and it doesn't need to feel like performative. Marketing is like, oh my gosh, it's such a beast, and people can get so caught up in like, but what's the right marketing strategy? And, how do I know like what I should do? Should I be doing this or should I be doing that? I want to simplify it for you so that you can create something that feels aligned for you and something that's easy for you to stay like focused on. I want you to look at look at the marketing and the sales process as having three pillars. One is visibility, and that's helping them just see you, right? Helping new people see you. Two is nurture, helping them trust you. And then third is conversion, helping them say yes. So if you can just stay focused on very simple, it's about visibility, nurture, conversion. This is where it all comes together. Your positioning comes through in how you show up. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing a few things with clarity and intention. So let me just walk you through like a few examples from each of these. So visibility, for instance, it might look like posting social media content on Instagram or LinkedIn. It might be being a guest on a podcast or speaking in a group or summit. Today is a perfect example of visibility strategy. Nurturing might be like sending out a value-added weekly newsletter to your audience, sharing behind the scenes of your offer journey, or responding to comments on social media. Conversion would be offering a free call or a workshop with a clear call to action, DMing someone who's engaged with your story and starting a conversation, or sharing a no-fluff sales page that speaks their language. Marketing doesn't have to feel salesy when it's truly rooted in heart and service. And that's what I know this from working with wellness entrepreneurs. They like so many of them have like really, really big hearts. So if we can just focus on heart and we are here to truly be in service to people, it's not about like trying to sell or to convince. It's just about being in service. What you do need, though, is consistency. I do find that most people, understandably, we can get busy, we can get caught up in serving our clients, and we forget how important consistency is, because it's consistency that builds trust. And there's three ways that you can build that consistency. One is to create a simple, repeatable system. And when I say simple, I'm saying don't bite off more than you can chew. Like if someone says, "Oh, well, you need to be posting every single day on Instagram," and you know that you are not going to follow through with posting every day on Instagram, don't do that. Give yourself something simpler. I'm going to commit to 3 times a week. Something that you know you will follow through with and that it can be repeatable. Second thing that you can do is to batch when you have energy. One of the things that I do, like I have a lot of visibility strategies in my own business. And what I do is I batch certain things on certain days so that I'm only like expending so much energy. Like on Mondays, I always record my weekly video and I always record my audio podcast. So I have like the recording done on Monday. On Tuesdays, I write social media content. So I try to do things like in little batches. So it works like with my system of like, being able to serve clients, being able to be in networking calls, but still being able to follow through with my marketing. And third is to go back to that 3-pillar rule: visibility, nurture, conversion. So just set up a system where you're doing one to two things in each of those pillars each week. That's how you're going to build like that consistency in your marketing. Now, I know I went through the Google form that you sent me, and some of the members were asking for ideas for getting into companies or groups. Corporate marketing strategy is slightly different. So I just wanted to share a few little ideas about like corporate marketing, because here you're not selling to the individual anymore. You're actually building relationships with decision makers like the HR directors, team leads, or workplace wellness managers. So a few ideas. I will be completely honest with you, like corporate marketing is like not my specialty, but I know enough about this to just share a few things. Number one, you want to speak where HR is listening. Look for local HR associations, business networks, or other like online communities that are hosting lunch and learn summits or panel events, and put together like an expert talk on what is the typical struggles that corporations are going through. Partner with HR consultants or EAPs. These spaces are always looking for educational content. So maybe they have like an online like EAP where people go for resources, like offer, to write articles and contribute to those EAPs. And last would be to use LinkedIn as a leader. I know that most wellness entrepreneurs lean heavily on Instagram, but if you are targeting corporate, you definitely have to be on LinkedIn. So make LinkedIn kind of your primary platform and focus on just sharing like thought leadership content, content around what the corporations are struggling with. Like what we have to keep in mind with corporate is it's all about the bottom line for them. It's all about like making money. It's all about, retention. So how can you write content that supports them in those goals? Okay, so I want to wrap up the 6-step offer alignment blueprint. One is choosing your specific lane, get clear on the problem and the promise, validate before you build, and structure for quick transformation, price based on transformation, and position yourself as the go-to expert. So a lot of people, I know a lot of people that I work with are always wondering, is my offer really ready to launch? They have maybe some doubts. They're struggling with a little bit of confidence. They have unanswered questions. So this is what I wanted to offer you, and I'm super, super excited about this. Last week, I actually put together an AI-powered offer confidence tool. It comes with this offer confidence checklist. But if you are a ChatGPT user and you enjoy using AI, this AI confidence offer tool will actually walk you through a series of 10 questions that helps you evaluate whether or not your offer is ready. It helps you spot like what's working and what might be missing. And it actually gives you like 1 to 3 like action steps that you can take to move forward to really make sure that your offer is aligned and ready to go. So I encourage you to sign up for that. You can just go to www.onamissionbrands.com/offer-checklist. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me. I just hope you walked away with just some nuggets that you can use to improve your offers. I hope you walk away with just more confidence to lean into like your uniqueness, into your brilliance. And yeah, it's a passion of mine. Like it's a total passion of mine to help people really align into their mojo and use that to create an irresistible and profitable offer. So please stay in touch with me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. If you sign up for the Offer Confidence Checklist, you'll automatically be on my weekly newsletter, which yeah, it's a deep dive like every single week on getting clear on your offers, how to craft your offers, how to market them, how to sell to them, how to sell your offers. So yeah, I just encourage you to be a part of the community.
Brilliant. Laurie, that was fantastic. And I have so much to say and ask and do. But the main point I just want to say before we all go is that when you say you sell from your heart, I see why, because you ignite something in my heart, it fuels me up. So that was really, really great. We've run out of time. So, Laurie, I don't know if you can stay on for 10 minutes just to see if there's any
Yeah,
questions or
absolutely.
compliments or whatever people may have. If anyone on needs to disappear because we are out of time, you're more than welcome to slowly disappear. You're also able to share your appreciation or anything that stood out in the comments below. But if you have any questions for Laurie, feel free to raise your hand with the emoji or just pop on with your face. And then we can go from there.